Welcome back to session 3. So we are moving to session 3, and in this session we will come across several terms. Of course, the term definition, you may be a bit worried when you see several definitions. Don't worry, this is not actually a definition, but these are certain terms that you need to understand. These are things you know and you have seen. It is nothing like a law, but of course, without that, you will not be able to proceed. Say, address on record. So, address on record, what does it mean? Address as shown in the books of the supplier. Address as shown in the books of the supplier. Of whom? The recipient. So, the address of the recipient as noted in the files of the supplier. So, doesn't mean that this is the same as the address of delivery. So, address of delivery may be different. Say, for example, the postal address in Kannur is given, but the address of delivery may be in one of the suburbs of Kannur or maybe Wayanad. So, whatever is there in the records of or books of the supplier as given, of course, is that of the recipient, address of the recipient given in the books of the supplier. That is it. That is the address on record. Nothing that is to be by-hearted, just only you understand it. Then adjudicating authority. Adjudicating authority. So, adjudicating authority means any authority competent to pass any order or decision relating to the GST Act. Of course, it does not include the Central Board of Excise and Customs. So, any competent authority to pass any order or decision relating to the GST Act. Then another term, of course, this is given in alphabetic order that it may be easy for you to remember. The definition of the terms, it is given in alphabetic order. Agent. Who is an agent? Of course, you know the meaning in common parlance, more or less the same. So, GST Act defines an agent as a person, including a factor, broker, commission agent, an auctioneer, or any other mercantile agent. You have studied mercantile law, of course, in the new form of mercantile law is business law, which you studied in semester 2, mercantile agent. Whatever be the name called, doesn't matter, who carries on the business of supply or receipt of goods or services, or both, on behalf of another. So, who is an agent? The one who acts on behalf of another. That's it. The names may be different, but the activity that is carried on is the same. Then another term that you come across in GST is aggregate turnover. So, aggregate turnover here means the total value of all taxable supplies, exempt supplies, export of goods, services and interstate supplies of a person having the same PAN computed on the PAN. You get me? So, aggregate turnover, it does not mean just the taxable supplies, no. Not just the exempt supplies, no. Exports of goods or service. Exports, as you know, there is no tax, but still it doesn't mean whether there is tax or not, whether it is taxable or non-taxable, whether it is taxable supply or exempt supply. Aggregate turnover means the total value of all supplies, in other words, the total value of all supplies. So, add that taxable supply, non-taxable supply, exports, all comes under it. Having the same PAN. PAN means a permanent account number. This is given to a person by the tax authority, permanent account number. So, it is like I told you in the other session about unique identification number. This is also another unique identification number. In Aadhaar card, you have a number, and with that number, the government can identify you. So, too, PAN is having a number, identification number, with that they can identify you. That is aggregate turnover. Then another term, appellate tribunal. Under section 109, a tribunal has been set up. under section 109 of course, the GST Act. A tribunal has been set up, and that tribunal is known as appellate tribunal. Appellate tribunal, the highest tribunal. Then another term, of course, in alphabetic order I told you. So under A, application service providers, short for the acronym or the short form is ASPs, application service providers. Have you heard of GST Suvidha? GST Suvidha providers? GST Suvidha providers are those who provide help to the business people in matters relating to GST. So this ASPs also is similar to that of GST Suvidhas, but it is more than that, more than GSP, this ASP. The support provided by ASP will address most taxpayer compliance difficulties as they work as a liaison between the taxpayer and the GSPs. That is, in Suvidha, GST Suvidha providers, between the taxpayer and GST Suvidha, if any, of course, non-compliance is there, these application service providers, they will support or help in filing the GST return. Then another term in alphabetic order, A, appropriate government. Appropriate government means, of course, is there more than one government? You may ask the question. But we have seen like SGST, IGST, UTGST. So in such cases, relevant appropriate government there means central government for IGST or UTGST. UTGST also the central government is looking after. And CGST. CGST also the central government is looking after. And SGST, so the state government is looking after SGST. So in matters relating to SGST, that means State Goods and Services Act, the state government, concerned state governments look after it, while in matters of IGST, UTGST, CGST, the central government is looking after. Then assessment. This is also a common term which you may know the meaning. So here assessment means the finding out or the determination of tax liability. Assessment of tax liability. Or finding out the tax liability. Or determination of tax liability. It may be self-assessment, reassessment, provisional assessment, summary assessment, best judgment assessment. So these are technical terms which we will see later on one by one. But now just understand that assessment here means finding out the tax liability. Whatever assessment it may be, self-assessment or reassessment or provisional assessment, doesn't matter. Here assessment means determination or finding out of tax liability. So these are the important terms that come under A. Then comes not B but C, capital goods. This of course commerce student knows capital goods, and in accounting you always come across this capital and revenue. Capital goods, revenue goods. Capital item, revenue item. And your preparation of account depends on whether it is an expense or expenditure. These all things you decide based on whether it is revenue item or capital item. So capital goods are those goods that are capitalized in the books of the accounts of the person claiming the credit and are intended to be used during the business. So a certain credit is available in the case of whether it is capital or revenue, but capital goods, so now understand what is capital. Capital goods are those goods that the value of which are capitalized in the books of accounts. Of course, based on that, he will be claiming certain credit, which again, of course, we will see later on. Then another term under C is casual taxable person. Casual. You know the meaning of casual. But when it comes to tax, what is the meaning? Casual taxable person. So there it means some people may be occasionally undertaking transactions involving supply of goods and or services during the business. Whether as principal, agent or in any other capacity, doesn't matter. If it is in a taxable territory and if he has no fixed place of business, doesn't matter, then it is called a casual taxable person. Because every transaction or every business attracts tax. So I may not be running a business, it doesn't matter. If I do a transaction which attracts tax, so I am called a casual taxable person. So it is not my habit, I don't do regularly business. But one or two transactions attract tax, that means that I come under casual taxable person. Because I cannot say that I am not a businessman, so I won't pay tax. No. If a transaction, if it is taxable under law, I am a taxable person. So that is casual taxable person. Then common portal. So this a regular term that you see, common portal, because this even your class is IT enabled, so now you understand the meaning common portal. So here for GST purpose, common portal means GST portal, approved by the central and state governments on the recommendation of the council. So it is we have seen GST council, it is the council which recommends, and a portal that has been recommended by the GST council, approved by the center and state, or center or state and or. That portal is called common portal. So that means a portal to be used, approval is required. Then comes composite supply. This occasionally happens in our day-to-day life, but we may not be aware of it. So composite supply means a supply consisting of two or more goods and or services which are naturally bundled and provided together, one being a principal supply. That means one supply does not exist without the supply of another. That is composite supply. Say for example, a simple example I will tell you. Of course, we take ice cream. Ice cream given to you without a spoon, you will not be able to. Otherwise, unless otherwise it is a cone ice cream. For cone ice cream, of course, you just open it. But ice cream in cup. So one supply cannot exist by itself because another product is to be given along with it. Then consideration. So what is consideration? Say you want to buy a notebook. You go to a nearby shop and ask for a 200 pages notebook. Of course, when you buy a book, you need to pay for it. Say for example, it costs 40 rupees or 50 rupees, 50 or 40. That 40 or 50 that made by you is consideration. So consideration, you make a payment for the book that you get, or pen, or any grocery, or anything, any purchase. So that is consideration. Usually it is in it is in money, but this may be in kind. Then if any subsidy is received, if there is any subsidy, that subsidy is not included in consideration because you are making a payment after deducting the subsidy. That is consideration. And two terms, credit note and debit note. These two terms you are familiar because there is no accounting without knowing credit note, without knowing debit note. So credit note, of course, it is a document issued by a taxable person in relation to the tax invoice exceeding the taxable value or tax payable in respect of supply. So any excess payment made, if the supplier, instead of making payment, what they do, instead of reimbursing, what they do is give a credit note. So just the opposite, debit note. It's also a document issued by a taxable person relating to the taxable value of goods or services. Tax charged as per tax invoice when found to be less than the taxable value. So that is a debit note. Digital signature certificate. DSC, the acronym is DSC. So we are living in an age of DSC, Digital Signature Certificate. It is a secure digital key that certifies the identity of the holder. It is issued by a certifying authority. That means CA, again the short form. It holds, this digital signature certificate holds information about the identity of the holder. It is the digital equivalent of a handwritten signature. To understand it better, When you give a document, say for example, you have to sign it. Even when you give a leave application to your class tutor, you will have to sign it. So what that sign means, signature means, that means this signature, with that signature, through that signature, so you are the person behind it. So say when you go to a bank, you give a check, you give a signed check. So what your signature means? You are the owner of it. So digital signature certificate means so your signature is certified by the authority. So when you see this signature, this person, that is a digital signature certificate. Then electronic commerce, because now the business now has, especially this during the time of Corona, business has moved to online. And here in electronic commerce, the goods and services are supplied, even if it is a digital products, over an electronic platform or electronic network. So that is electronic commerce. Okay, we will have to see this in detail later on again. Then another term is exempt supply. What do you mean by exempt supply? Exempt supply means supply of any goods or service that are not taxable. Goods or services that are not taxable. And also it attracts those goods and services that are zero rated. So when we come to slab, we will see that different slabs are applicable, and it starts from 0 and the maximum is 28. We will see it in the next module. When we come to module 2, we will see that one in detail. So now we just understand that when we say the tax rate is 0, no tax is payable, so that also comes under exempt supply. So there are certain goods specifically exempt from tax, and there are certain goods that the exemption is not based on goods, but based on, say for example, where it is supplied. Based on the place of supply, it may be 0 rated. So it is not the product, but the place. So that also comes under exempt supply. Then another term is fixed establishment. Fixed establishment. For fixed establishment, say our college, St. Joseph College of Communication, it has a fixed place. So in the case of business, fixed establishment means it's a place, and the place of business may be different from the place of establishment. So say for example, the establishment is at Changanasheri. The place of business, of course, it's not just it may not be just the place where this is established. So fixed establishment, of course, it is a place other than the place of business. Then forward charge. So charge, forward, two terms, charge. So charge, of course, means a liability. Forward, transferred. So forward charge means the tax liability of the supplier of goods and services, for goods and or services, to levy the tax on the recipient of the goods and or services and to remit the same to the credit of the government. So of course, as we have seen, as you know, tax is something that is for the government. It is government revenue. So the liability, of course, is on the supplier. So it is for the supplier to levy the tax. That means it is mandatory. And a taxable item is to be taxed. A taxable item is to be taxed at the rate that is applicable. Say different slabs are there. I cannot just, to do a favor, put, say for example, 12% tax instead of 28. No? So it is my liability, if I am a businessman, it is my liability to levy the tax. And we have seen in the first session, it is GST is a destination tax. Destination there means it is tax at the place where this is consumed. So it is my responsibility as a businessman to levy tax at the rate that is applicable and collect it and pay to the government. So that is called forward charge. Then another term is fund. Fund there means the consumer fund. Set up under section 57 of course, the GST Act by the central government. So it is for the welfare of the consumers. Of course, the consumers are also to be taken into consideration, and their welfare is of importance to the government. Then goods. This is another term that is familiar to you. Goods refer to all types of movable property, including actionable claim, growing crops, grass, and things attached to the land that are agreed to be served before supply or under a contract of supply. And securities and money doesn't come under goods. So all types of movable property. So including growing crops, growing grass and things attached to the land. Of course, as you know, growing crops, this is to be harvested at the time of harvest. Grass, if this is grown, to be cut, and if this is sold in the market, that also comes under goods. GST Suvidha Provider, of course, we are dealing with the different terms. This GST Suvidha Provider in session 2, we came across this term, GST Suvidha Provider. This is the third party applications that assist the taxable person in accessing the GST portal in an enriched manner. The best example for us is now whenever we want something, if you want to even to file an application or if you get any certificate from the government, you go to Akshaya. I think you all are familiar with Akshaya. And we have an Akshaya just nearby. And you have Akshaya near your home. If you are living away, you can find. So Akshaya, the name also is good because Akshaya means, get from where you can always get something. No? Never this will be empty. So it will not be empty. So like if you go to Akshaya, there is a solution for everything. So it is like that. This GSP also, GST Suvidha Provider also is like that. A taxpayer, if you want any service, just go to GSP. Then input service distributor. Input service distributor. So input and output. Input and output. Input service distributor means it is the office of the supplier. Office of the supplier. Of course, goods and services, it is always there. That receives tax invoices issued under Section 31. Invoice issued under Section 31 towards the receipt of input services and issues a prescribed document for distributing the credit of CGST, SGST, UTGST, and or IGST paid for the said services. So it is the office of the supplier of goods and services. Then input tax. Input tax and output tax. This is another term that you will be coming across. When it comes in alphabetic order, you will see that one. Input tax. So here input tax in relation to a registered person under GST means, of course, the central tax, state tax, integrated tax, union territory tax charged on supply of goods or services or both made to him and includes IGST charged on the import of goods, tax payable under subsections 3 and 4 of Section 9, tax payable under subsections 3 and 4 of Section 5 of the IGST Act, tax payable under subsections 3 and 4 of Section 9 of the respective SGST Act, tax payable under subsections 3 and 4 of Section 7 of the UTGST Act. So input tax means what? Input tax is tax, central tax, whether it may be central tax, state tax, integrated tax, or union territory tax. So if these taxes, if applicable, but as you know, this all has been now comes under, other than certain specified goods which we have seen, comes under GST. It includes IGST charged on the import of goods, tax payable under. So just have a look. It is under subsections 3 and 4. 3 and 4 of Section 9, 3 and 4 of Section 5, of course, SGST Act, and the other one is IGST Act. Then again, tax payable under subsection 3 and 4 of Section 7 of the UTGST Act. So that is the input tax. Of course, this input tax is relevant to us because in the computation of tax payable to the government, this input tax is to be found out and it should be adjusted against. Of course, which doesn't come to you in this module, which comes later on. Then interstate supply of goods. So this interstate supply of goods and intrastate supply of goods we have seen in session 1, if you can recollect. So intrastate means supply within the state. Interstate means supply outside the state. That means between states. Then comes invoice. So invoice, just for the time being, understand that invoice here means a tax invoice. This tax invoice is prepared as per section 31 of the GST Act, tax invoice. For the time being, just understand that. And of course, whenever you, as I told you in the other session, whenever you get an invoice, just you may call it a bill or something, so, but usually it is written tax invoice. Just have a look at it. This is prepared under section 31. Then another term is inward supply. Inward supply means the receipt of goods or services. Receipt of goods or services. It may be by purchase, or it may be by acquisition, or by any other means, and with or without consideration. Consideration, we have seen what is meant by consideration. Something given in exchange, of course, in monetary terms. So inward supply, it may be with consideration or without consideration, but it is a receipt of goods or service, maybe by purchase or acquisition or any other means. That is inward supply. Then job work. Job work means undertaking any treatment or process by a person on goods belonging to another registered taxable person. That means a job is taken, say for example in the case of construction of a building, for better understanding. Different jobs are there. Say for example the plumbing work, that is a job work. Or electrical work, that is a job work. For concreting, flooring, that's a job work. Placing tiles, job work. So job work means undertaking any treatment or process by a person on goods belonging to another registered taxable person. So the registered person, of course, registered under GST. Say for example, the registered person is X. Y is taking a job work from him. So like as I told you, maybe plumbing work, in the case of construction building, or electrical work, or tile work, flooring, anything. Then local authority. So for local authority for GST, this is something which is important to us, because without knowing local authority, we cannot know whether, of course, when we learn who is a person under GST, you need to know local authority. Of course, local authority is also a person. Local authority is also a person. Person comes later. We will see who is a person. This we have to see in detail. So local authority means a panchayat is a local authority. Municipality is a local authority. A municipal committee or a Silla Parishad or a district board, it is a local authority. Cantonment board is a local authority. Regional council is a local authority. Development board is a local authority. Regional council is a local authority. Of course, there are different articles or sections dealing with these authorities. So understand that all these people, whether it is panchayat, municipality, corporation, cantonment, regional council, all these are local authorities. Then market value. So what do you mean by market value? Other than, of course, the market value, other than the real price that we pay, a value that is familiar to you is, say for example, you always hear market value on land. And a deed is to be, when you purchase a property, a deed is to be registered in the market value which is given by the government. The actual value may be different, so don't worry about that actual value. So market value means, here of course in GS it means the full amount that a recipient of supply would pay to obtain the goods. The full amount that a recipient of supply would pay to obtain the goods or service. It may be in kind or in quality, doesn't matter. Quality, of course, quality in inverted comma, remember, I will explain later on. In kind, you know, or about the same time at the same commercial level where the recipient and suppliers are not related. There are certain things, of course, it will be clear to you, more clear to you when we proceed to the other modules. But just I am putting all these terms together that at least you come across it, and of course the explanation of it, more detailed explanation we will see later on. So here in market value, just understand that the full amount that is paid to receive a benefit or a product or a service. That is the market value. Then mixed supply, I think we have seen this term mixed supply. Composite supply we have seen. Mixed supply. Two or more individual supplies of goods or services made together by a taxable person for a single price, where such supply does not form a composite supply. So mixed supply other than composite supply. Mixed supply, of course, it is bundled together, but it is not composite. Say for example, when you buy cake from birthday cake, say for example, when you buy birthday cake, you don't just get the cake and go. That cake will be packed in a beautiful carton, then tied with a ribbon, then again wrapped in a good wrapping paper, put a card on it, happy birthday, and you take it. So it is not, when you order say for example, when you order a birthday cake, it is not that just they give you the cake and they ask you to take it. No. Then a non-resident taxable person. So non-resident, again, this is a term that comes in tax, mainly. Of course, this term you find in income tax. Non-resident taxable person means resident and non-resident. You will have to see who is a resident. When a person is considered as resident, then who is a non-resident. When a non-resident becomes a taxable person. Okay, so non-resident, the meaning of non-resident we will see later on. But now, just understand that non-resident taxable person is someone who occasionally undertakes transactions involving the supply of goods and services, whether as a principal, agent, or in any other capacity, but with no fixed place of business in India. So there, of course, this explanation that is given there, you need to understand along with a non-resident who is not resident. When a person is considered as a resident in India, in this budget, 2020 budget, you might have read in newspaper about a big change that was announced by the finance minister about the physical presence and residential status. A person who is coming to India for a period exceeding 180 days, 80 days. And that 180 days has been reduced to 120 days. So a person will be considered as non-resident if leaves India before 180 days. It was a case before, but coming from abroad, of course, living abroad, and other conditions are there, which of course you will study in semester 5 and 6 next year. So don't worry too much about it. Now that has been 180 has been reduced to 120. So if a person who is coming from abroad, who is non-resident, coming into India and stays here more than 120 days, will become a resident. So otherwise leaves India before 120 days, will be a resident. So then input tax we have seen. Do you remember? Output tax. Output tax means the CGST or SGST. CGST means Central Goods and Services Tax. SGST means State Goods and Services Tax on the taxable supply of goods and or services made by a taxable person or by his agent. It excludes tax payable on a reverse charge basis. Again, just to keep in mind reverse charge we will see. So output tax means CGST and or SGST on the taxable supply of goods and or services made by a taxable person. So that is output tax. Then outward supply, inward supply we have seen. So what is outward supply? Supply of goods and services by whoever it be, made during the business, maybe by sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease, disposal, as we have seen in the case of inward supply. That is supply of goods made during the business. By whom doesn't matter. You remember I told you about a person. This is something which of course you need to study by heart and remember who is a person. So in common parlance, person means who? Maybe you may say an individual, not more than that. So a person for a commerce person or a person for business purpose, the meaning is different. So there person means, which we will have to of course study by heart for exam purpose, and also to work out problems on GST, you need to know who is a person. So it's not just an individual. Person means an individual, Hindu undivided family, a company, a firm, a limited liability partnership, association of persons or body of individuals, any corporation, any body corporate incorporated under law, a cooperative society, local authority, central government or a state government. So a central government also is a person. State government is also a person. Societies, under Societies Registration Act 1860. Trust, a very artificial juridical person. So it's a big list, but we will have to remember, we have to study, remember, write, should be able to write for the examination as well, because usually this is asked, who is a person? Not only for examination purpose, a commerce student should know the meaning of a person. So when you say person, individual, we use interchangeably, but no, for commerce it is no. So an individual is a person, Hindu undivided family is a person, company is a person, firm is a person, limited liability partnership is a person, association of persons is a person, body of individuals is a person, a cooperative society is a person, a local authority is a person, central government is a person, state government is a person, society defined under the Societies Registration Act 1860, a trust, a very artificial juridical person. So anything that doesn't, any person who doesn't come under the other list, of course, comes as artificial juridical person. Who is an artificial juridical person? So I'll give you a simple example. Say, nearby we have, say, for example, the Parel Church is there. And Parel Church is known in the name of Mother Mary. And you know, of course, income is generated by, of course, the contributions that the people make. That's an income. So any juridical person who gets income, artificial juridical person. So Mother Mary is treated as or regarded as artificial juridical person. So another example, say, you might have nearby Chakulataha Devi, generating income, artificial juridical person. Say another example from a nearby place, Kutanad, Yartha Church, St. George Church. Income is generated so that St. George is treated as artificial juridical person. So that is what is meant by artificial juridical person. So he is a person. Whether tax is payable or not, of course, it depends. It depends whether which income is taxable, whether it is taxable or income is exempt from tax. That's don't mix it up with that one. But understand that person, artificial juridical person also come under the term person. So person includes. It's a long list. So I remember it. So place of business. So place of business is the place where the business is originally carried on. It may be a warehouse, godown, any other place. So the place of business just doesn't mean that what you can see just on the roadside. So even a warehouse can be a place of business. Well, in the case of online business, as you know, of course, the goods are kept in a godown or warehouse or any storing place. It can be a place of business. So and also, place of business means a place where a taxable person keeps his books of accounts. And also if the businessman is doing business through an agent, place of business means place where a taxable person is engaged in business through an agent. That also is a place of business. That means the place of business of the agent becomes the place of business of the principal. So then comes a registered importer. So of course there is nothing to explain. Registered importer means importer registered as per the provisions of Central Excise Rules 2002. Then related person. So we have seen this term related person before in this session. So related person means who is a related? Relative we know. So who is a related person? Officers or directors of one another's business. Officers or directors of one another's business. legally recognized partners in business. In the employer and the employee, related person, employer and the employee. Someone who directly or indirectly owns, controls or holds 25% or more of the outstanding voting stock or shares or both, then also that person is called a related person. Because when it comes to the case of related person, the transfer, of course, it has got implication. That is why we need to know who is a related person. A third person directly or indirectly controls both. Together, they directly or indirectly control a third person. They are members of the same family. They are also related person, of course. So that there it is clear to us in common parlance. The meaning also is the same family, related. But the other terms that are coming up is for business purpose. Then for GST, what do you mean by removal? Removal in relation to goods means dispatch of the goods for delivery by the supplier or by any other person acting on behalf of such supplier. So here removal here means dispatch of the goods or service. For what? For delivery. Sometimes it may be a different person acting on behalf of the supplier. Then also it is known as removal. Then collection of the goods by the recipient or by any other person acting on behalf of such a recipient, then it is also known as removal. So both dispatch, collection. Dispatch of goods and services by the supplier, then collection of goods and or services by the recipient is known as removal. Then return. Return means, okay, the normal meaning, common meaning that we know return is something we get back. So here, return for tax purpose means in a prescribed form, the details about the business is to be submitted to the authorities. Of course, now it is online. In prescribed form, in prescribed format, this is to be furnished or submitted. That is known as return. Income tax return, GST return, then reverse charge. Just now understand just the meaning alone. Reverse charge, of course, that again we will see in detail in the next module. So here, reverse charge, the charge is reversed. Usually this charge is paid by the supplier. A charge that is paid by supplier. If reversed, if this is reversed, then who has to pay it? The tax liability comes on whom? On the recipient. So it is the responsibility, we have seen in the session 2, it is the responsibility of the supplier to levy tax, collect tax and pay to the government. In reverse charge, instead of the supplier levying and collecting tax, the liability is passed on to the recipient, just the opposite. That is called reverse charge, and that is why it is called a reverse charge. The charge is on the, or the liability is on the supplier. So from supplier, this is passed on to the recipient, then it is known as reverse charge. Then services, service. So GST, as we have seen, tax on goods, tax on services. Tax on goods, tax on services. So what do you mean by, so when you say tax on service, what do you mean by tax on services? What do you mean by services then? So services means anything other than goods, money and securities. Include activities relating to the use of money or its conversion by cash or by any different mode. Okay. So service means anything other than goods, service, goods, money and securities. But include activities relating to the use of money, that is service, or its conversion by cash. Say for example, you are transferring money from, say, from one country to another country. It is transfer. Transfer of, so this is service. So money as such is not service. Goods as such is not service. So service comes in when this money is transferred or is converted or converted from one form to another form, from one currency to another currency. Say for example in the case of converting dollar into Indian rupees. So that is service. Then again, service means, say for example, In the case of telephone, you are getting service. So we are using mobile. It's a service. Electricity, it's a service. Of course, supplier is another term. No explanation is required. The one who is providing, supplier, the one who is giving or supplying the goods or service. Then supply means all forms of supply, goods and or service, through sale, transfer, barter, exchange, anything. Taxable person means, under GST, taxable person means a person who is carrying on business, maybe within the state, between the state, where maybe importing goods from other country, he becomes a taxable person. Then another term, of course, from examination point of view, it is important to you, zero-rated supply. As per section 16 of the CGST Act 2017, zero-rated supply means there only you need to remember two supplies. One is export, I told you before, the export of goods or service. Export doesn't attract tax because GST is destination based. The end user is abroad, you cannot collect a tax from there and bring it over here. And also to promote export, to get more foreign currency. Then zero-rated supply within the country, there are certain zones which you might have come across, especially in business studies, SEZ, Special Economic Zones. When goods are supplied to special economic zones, no tax is collected. It's an incentive. It's an incentive to the business people. So there are certain special economic zones. Say, for example, in Vallarpadam, Ernakulam, that area is a special economic zone, zero-rated supply. Any supply to that area is zero-rated. Then, of course, the history of the evolution of the evolution of GST, it's good that you read it. What I will do is just the milestones. 2006, the first announcement. 2009, the Empowered Committee released the first discussion paper. 2011, 115th Amendment Bill was introduced and subsequently lapsed. 214, 122nd Amendment Bill was introduced in Lok Sabha. 216, 101st Amendment Act was enacted. September 2016, the first GST Council meeting was conducted. 2017, CGST, SGST, IGST, UTGST and Compensation Cess Act was recommended by the GST Council. April 2017, CGST, SGST, IGST, UTGST and Compensation Cess Act were passed. So a big change in the taxation system, indirect tax system in India. It happened in April 2017. And in 1st July 2017, GST laws, goods and service tax was launched all over India. A date to remember, 1st July 2017. And when it was passed on 1st July, it was Jammu and Kashmir was excluded from that GST Act. And on 7th July, that means after 6 days, Jammu and Kashmir State Legislature was passed its GST. So Jammu and Kashmir State Legislature passed its GST, and since then GST is applicable all over India. GST is applicable all over India. So it's a long history. Other than academic interest, it is good to know or good to read such changes that took place in India. And module 1, of course, this is only just an introduction part. Many of the, as I told you, many of the definitions or the terms that we have seen, we will have to see in module 2, 3, 4 and 5 in detail. And only at the end, actually, when we complete all the 5 modules, we will be able to have a better understanding of what is GST. And of course, after finishing this, you will be able to, as I told you, to find a job in this line. So with that interest, you need to look at it. Of course, GST may look a bit dry for you, but of course, this is online class, And when you come to the classroom and listen, when we see face to face and listen to the class, of course, it will be a bit more interesting. We will have to confine to the technological limitations. We will have to just stick on to the topic, and of course we can have discussion in between later on in a Google Classroom platform. This is a good platform, Google Classroom, which you all have now, and you might have seen my ID code also there, of course, and see, let us see what will happen with the examination, and we will move on to it. Meanwhile, when the time comes and the management prefers, of course, the principal allows, this will be released, and you can listen to it. Wish you all a good time with the GST. Good time with the GST. So don't be worried or upset if you don't get it at first in a listen. Okay, listen to it 2 or 3 times, and still if you have doubt, of course, any point I can clarify. Thank you.